In the beginning, before time had a name, before any sound echoed through the void, there was only absolute silence. There was no form, no color, no direction. The universe rested in deep darkness, without stars, without sky, without ground. It was nothingness, not as an absence of power, but as a silent stage awaiting the first act of creation. Then, at the center of that eternal void, the voice of God broke the silence, a voice that did not merely sound, but created, a word that was not only spoken, but became reality. Light emerged, separating itself from darkness, and chaos began to receive order. The heavens stretched out like a great mantle, the waters were divided, solid land emerged, and everything came into existence in perfect harmony, obeying a carefully established divine purpose. The earth, still young, was covered in green. Trees grew, plants sprang forth, seas filled with life, and the sky was adorned with the sun, the moon, and the stars. Every creation carried beauty, balance, and intention, yet something was still missing. Someone was missing. Someone who could behold it all, who could touch the earth, walk upon it, and reflect, even if imperfectly, the image of the Creator. Then God bent down to the newly formed soil, and with his own hands shaped man from the dust of the earth. It was not a hurried act, but a careful one. Every detail was considered, and when that form took shape, God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Dust became flesh. What was lifeless became alive. The man opened his eyes, and for the first time, creation had someone who could see it and understand it. This man was placed in a place prepared especially for him, the Garden of Eden, a paradise that was not only beautiful, but perfectly balanced. Eden knew no scarcity. Everything flourished in abundance. Trees heavy with fruit, green fields stretching as far as the eye could see, gentle fragrances in the air, and a peace that needed no explanation, only to be felt. There was no fear, no pain, no conflict. Man walked in harmony with creation, and more than that, in communion with God. The Creator visited the garden, and his presence brought not terror, but rest. It was a pure relationship, without barriers, without guilt, without distance. At the center of the garden, however, stood two trees unlike all the others. The tree of life, a symbol of eternity, continuity, and fullness, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, carrying a profound meaning. It was not merely a tree, but a boundary, an invitation to obedience, a reminder that even in freedom there is responsibility. God granted man dominion over the garden, the right to enjoy everything within it, but he established a choice. All trees were permitted, except one. There, free will was born, the possibility of obedience not out of obligation, but out of trust. Eden was watered by a river that divided into four. The first was Pishon, flowing through lands rich in gold, where abundance was revealed not only in nature, but in treasures hidden within the soil. The second, Gihon, ran through fertile regions, symbolizing continuous life and constant provision. The third, the Tigris, flowed swiftly and powerfully, reflecting the movement of time and the history yet to unfold. The fourth, the Euphrates, wide and deep, represented stability, prosperity, and permanence. These rivers did more than nourish the garden. They symbolized divine generosity, effortless provision, and life spreading far beyond a single place. Man was given a mission to cultivate and to guard the garden. It was not burdensome labor, but partnership. Caring for creation was a privilege, a way to participate in God's purpose. Each day in Eden brought discovery. Man learned the rhythms of nature, named the animals, and understood the order of the world around him. Yet even surrounded by beauty, something was still missing. Loneliness was noticed, and once again, God intervened. From the man's side, the woman was formed, not as inferior, not as superior, but as a complement. Together, they reflected the divine image more completely. Humanity then was established. From that moment on, the story of humanity's origin began to take shape. Eden was not merely a physical place, but a state of being, a symbol of what humanity was created to be, connected to God, in harmony with creation, and aware of its choices. Over time, this narrative spread across generations, cultures, and civilizations. Ancient peoples created myths about the origin of the world, stories of sacred gardens, gods shaping humans from clay, rivers that brought life. Even distant from the biblical account, these stories carried echoes of the same fundamental truth, the search for origin, meaning, and purpose. The story of humanity's origin also brought deep reflections on free will, the ability to choose between obedience and disobedience, between trust and doubt, between good and evil. That choice shaped not only humanity's destiny in Eden, but the entire human journey. Morality, conscience, and the sense of right and wrong began to accompany humanity through the centuries. Philosophies arose, religions were formed, laws were written, all in an attempt to answer the same ancient questions: who are we, where did we come from, and why are we here? Even today, in a fast-paced and technological world, the story of humanity's origin continues to echo. It reminds us that we were created with intention, that life is not an accident, and that there is a greater purpose behind existence. Eden may no longer be a physical place we can reach, but its essence remains alive in humanity's longing for peace, fullness, and connection with the divine. The journey that began in the garden continues in every generation, in every choice, in every search for meaning. Thus, the origin of humanity is not merely a story of the past, but a constant invitation to reflection, a call to remember where we came from and where we may return, not geographically, but spiritually. A reminder that even far from the garden, we still carry the breath of life breathed into us by God, and as long as humanity exists, this story will continue to be told, reinterpreted, and lived, an eternal legacy that transcends time and points to something greater than ourselves.
If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.